Right, I think I'm live on YouTube. I'm just about to go live on TikTok. Sorry for being late, but basically, yeah, I was just late. I'm sorry. Just trying to figure out why my Logitech cam isn't showing. It's showing as it's there, but it's not. I don't understand where it's gone. Oh, donut. There we go. Not that I think you need my face on it right now. In fact, half my stuff has disappeared, so I don't quite know where it's all gone. My little logo and stuff's gone, so I don't quite know what's happened there. Hi Pam, you alright? Yeah, so I had a bit of a panic moment, and I couldn't get the snazzy USB hub working. Oh, I can't put it there. I've got the big subscribe button in the face. Yeah, I was user error. Let's put it that way. User error. Yeah, how are you, Pam? Long time no see. I can't see TikTok comments very well, as I don't really have anywhere that I'm able to view comments. So I promise I'm not ignoring anybody. I just can't see them. I'm just going to see if I can bring TikTok up on my Mac to at least be able to see some comments. Hi Kim. God, the lighting is so bad. Why is the lighting so bad? Oh well. Oh well. Right, let me see if I can bring the old tickety talk up. Okay, so I should hopefully be able to read comments on TikTok in a minute. Fingers crossed. Yes, I purposely ignore people. That is my job. Hello, how are you? Right, let's put you there. You had a panic attack in the store today. Oh my god, how are you? I like the little LOL you put on the end. Yeah, I've brought the live feed up on my desktop computer so I can see comments on TikTok, but they're probably going to end up... I'm going to try and look between... I'm going to end up with neck ache, let's put it that way. So before we start off with tonight's little draw along, I saw your comment. You're live on YouTube with sound and everything. Yeah, same, different day and all that sort of stuff. I had a chilled day at my bestie's today because it was her birthday. And we decided to have a play day. Oh, okay. Not even showing us live to you on TikTok. Really? I'm definitely live over there. And we had a bit of a sesh. You might recognise this man. I couldn't quite get it as I wanted, and I ended up running out of time, so I really rushed it. So I'm quite proud, really, but I needle felted myself a little something. What do you think? You can't see anything on there. Let me put the light on. There you go. Look! Showing up now, am I? What do you think? Isn't he cool? Does he look familiar? He's so fluffy. Oh dear, the back of him doesn't look so beautiful though. Look at the back. I've got the sponge in there. I was literally being frantic at the end of it. And I was like, I really got to do it. And this side's nice and flat, but this side's so fluffy because I was working so quickly trying to get it done before I got picked up. But I'm really happy with him. Aren't the colours lush? It looks like he's got some dodgy tash though. I love these live feeds. I always learn something new. Oh, bless you. Anyway, that's what I did today. Anyway, I managed to do it in about 3 hours. Don't know how, but I did. I love the way the shells come out though. But I was going to try and give him the skull and everything, but yeah, didn't get round to that. But anyway, like put him on a starry background too, just to give him a bit of schnazzle-dazz. So, it's Procreate. And I'm literally going to, so I need to turn the overhead off now. Let me see if I can turn it down actually. That might be a bit better. If it's irritating on either actually, just let me know and I'll turn the overhead light off. I'm trying to get you in a position where everybody can see everything. I'll just move my face. Thank you, John. Hi, Dead Chick. Okay, so I'm literally going to start from the beginning. So as I say, if I'm teaching you to suck eggs, I'm sorry, but I'm going to teach you how to suck eggs. And that's because there'll be a lot of people in here that are not familiar with Procreate whatsoever. I am no expert and I've never claimed to be. I love digital art, I love doing digital art, and I love the freedom it can give you as an artist. I have done a lot on digital art, not necessarily on Procreate, but we're talking probably 15-20 years ago. I used to do a lot of photo manipulation on Photoshop. So although I'm not necessarily au fait 100% on the functions, you got your mug. Oh, yes, you did. Yes, you did, my lovely. I saw. Thank you. I need to make that yet, so that's on the agenda for tomorrow. So the functions and things like that, I may not be 100% sure of on Procreate, but I generally have a very good idea that if I want to achieve something, how I go about doing it, if that makes sense. But of course, if you have any questions and I can answer them, I'm more than happy to. First thing I just want to say, actually, is keep it organised. It took me a while to get into the habit, but I literally have, as you can see here, I have stacks. I don't know if you're aware, but you can stack your items. So everything in my shop front is everything to do with how I make my shop front photos for Etsy. Stickers, so all of my sticker designs are all in my stickers folder. If I don't, then you will just be continuously searching through for items that you've been working on. My fleetings, so everything to do with ADHD, autism, mental health, illnesses are all under that as well. So it's really worth getting into the habit of stacking. And all I've done is when I've stacked, I've started up a new canvas and I've literally just shoved a colour and typed whatever the title is. And I'll just, when you come out, the last item you've worked on will be the first in the list. So I will then just move my title to the front. So every time I come out on my stack, I know exactly what folder it is I am looking for. I'm live on YouTube, so I've got an itchy nose. So yeah, that's one habit to get into. Like, I haven't moved it there. So that's my customs and logo work. And I did a recent one for board and made it look like felt, bless her. So I have changed the point of tonight, because I wanted to do something that was more simplified and something that everyone can have a go at no matter what your level is. So of course I've done some quite advanced stuff, which once you get used to how to use Procreate, you'll get very familiar on how to use it. So that's an example of realism on Procreate, and you can get some real high realism on these. And I'll just show you a bit better on TikTok. So all of that is done using Procreate, and it really is so versatile about what you can do in it. Yeah, there are tons and tons of tutorials on YouTube, so depending on what you want to do, it's worth sort of searching specifically for that, and then you won't sort of go down that rabbit hole of everything. But today is going to be quite simple. I thought we'd just do something, I don't know, we'll make a scene or something. What I want to do very quickly as well is explain to you about canvases. If you intend, this is a lesson both me and my sister have learnt the hard way. When you set up your canvas, you'll see here where mine says sRGB. Didn't mean to do that. A lot of the time you'll probably see yours come up as Cmyk. Now technically when you work in print, Cmyk is the way to work, but you only really need to work in that if you're talking print production, so magazines, massive billboard posters, that type of thing. Because what happens is RGB tends to have a much more vibrancy in the colour. When you swap to Cmyk, it dulls everything down. So, when we first started, both me and my sister were noticing a huge drop in colour and contrast and things like that, and we weren't liking how they were appearing. So we both work in RGB. I'm not going to overwhelm you, but you can download different colour profiles for this as well, which I have actually done, but for today we'll do. So to learn how to change all that over, as I say, I'm teaching you how to suck eggs. We're going to do this from the beginning. So we're going to add a new canvas. I don't know if you saw how I did that. Cancel. So here there's a little icon, and you just click on that and it brings you up a new canvas. First thing I would do is click on the colour profile. So there's your Cmyk, and there is your RGB. I would always, for me, and I would suggest in the beginning, especially if you want, especially if you want your colours to stay the same when you print them, is to work in RGB. So hop to the whatever one it recommends really, but I always tend to do the sRGB. I think it's 1966 or something. I don't know how well you can see that. And then obviously dimensions. The larger your canvas is on Procreate, the less amount of pages you're allowed, layers you're allowed. So if you think of it as a notebook, the bigger your notebook, the less pages you have. The smaller your notebook, the more pages you're allowed. So if you're setting everything, always do it at 300 dpi. Never go lower than 300 dpi. And generally, actually, I would recommend 600, but depending on what you're doing. But for beginners, don't do anything lower than 300. 300 is your print standard. And so if I made this like massive, so if I don't know, let's turn it into inches, for example, we'll do 28 inches by 22 inches. I'm only allowed 8 layers. I can only have 8 layers through the whole canvas, and that's because of the sheer size of the file. The more layers you have, the bigger the file size gets. So if I don't know, let's do a 10 by 8, you get 89 layers. So it's a big difference. But of course you can keep it standard and keep it, I don't know, we do A4, I was working millimeters, so 297 by 210. And then I've got 73 layers, but always keep it at 300 dpi. I would recommend setting these up all at the beginning, So I have my A4 print, my A3 print, an RGB print. I also have Square, which is specifically for Instagram and Etsy, because Etsy listing sizes are a minimum of 2000 pixels squared. I then have it set up for merch, t-shirts, jumpers, pop sockets, phones and pillows for Amazon, but I would suggest that you set all your canvases up. And then that way you're not having to keep putting the details in every time. So I'm going to work on A3 because we don't need many layers for this. And let's work on it this way for it. No, actually you're going to get less. Let me know on YouTube if you're going to have difficulty seeing anything, please. You should be all right on TikTok. So I think we're going to have a go at doing, I don't know, like a really basic wintry mountain scene. I just don't know. I thought we'd just give it a go very quickly. We've done them before in watercolour, so just literally build up some shapes. So I've already got a colour palette here which has a nice range of light to dark. So if I start off with this lighter colour, make sure I'm on the right brush. So I'm actually going to probably use Monoline, and Monoline has no tapering on the end. And by a taper, what I mean is, you can see how nice and rounded that end is. I think I need to turn the light off for you guys on YouTube. It's really light, isn't it? Oh, let me turn that down. That might help. Is that a bit better for you? If you have something that is tapered, like the syrup brushes or the studio pens, it's more responsive to pressure. So you get this little tapering off at the end. It's more visible in syrup. So you've got this really fine point that you can get with that. So things like Monoline are not pressure sensitive. So if you're worried about having thicks and thins in your lines to begin with, always just stick to Monoline. It's the easiest thing to do, to be honest. I need to turn my brightness up, guys, on YouTube. That should be okay, hopefully. Everything makes sense so far. Hi, Tone Death. Sorry, my lovely. I didn't see you hop on. So I'm just going to pick my light colour and we're just going to do a really basic mountain shape in the back. And then we're going to fill it. I am then going to do a new layer. And then we're going to go slightly darker. And then we're going to alter where we see the mountain, and then we're going to fill it. New layer, and then we're going to go darker again. And again, we're just going to, they don't have to be perfect shapes. New layer. Then we'll go, I think that one's darker. New layer. Yeah, it auto saves. So one thing I need to make you aware of, actually, because it is worth knowing, is all the time my canvas is left open, I can undo or I can redo. So all the time my canvas is left open, so I can go out and I can go, right, okay, well, I'm going to go and have a look here. I'm going to go over to here. I'm going to have a look there. And all the time I haven't shut down this canvas, I can still undo stuff. The minute I then decide, okay, what's happening? Where's all my stuff gone? Thank you. I come out to my gallery. Then I go back in and then I try and undo it. It's impossible. You can't do it. So always make sure that you're at a point that you don't want to undo anything before you go back into your gallery or you shut it down completely. Right, one last layer I think, and I'm going to select the last colour that we use and I'm just going to make that a bit darker. And then fill that. I'm going to go to my, I need a background layer, so I'm just going to add a layer on the back and drag it to the bottom. And then we're going to pick a sky colour. I'm just going to pick a random pink. But I might go lighter than that. And then I am going to grab a purple, I think, and I'm going to swap my brush to a medium air, actually soft airbrush I think I'm going to go for. I'm going to make sure our brush is nice and big. I'm going to turn the canvas because I just find it easier to work like this. Make sure you're on your sky layer, and then I'm just going to fill up to where I want. I'm going to make that purple a bit darker, and then I'm going to go in on the bottom, and then I'm going to go up to my what I guess I would call filters, adjustments, then down to Gaussian Blur. Keep it on Gaussian Blur. You can change it to pencil, but keep it on the main one, and then you just slide up until you get the sky as blurred as you want. So we want quite a nice medium blurage. I don't know, whatever you call it. And we're going to do something similar on each layer. So to put a shadow cast between this blue and this blue, we need to put a shadow behind this one. So we're going to select this layer at the very back, and we're going to add a new layer. And then each of the shadows is going to be done in this darker. When it fills in, yes, that is down to a break in your shape. So if I just do, we on the new layer, yeah, hang on, let me come up here, add a new layer. So if I do a shape and there's a gap in that shape and then you try and fill it, it will fill the entire area. Sometimes you can hold it and drag. Can you see this bar up here changing? That is your threshold. So the lower the threshold, the less space it fills. The higher the threshold, the more space it fills. So you can lower it to fill in a specific space, and then you would go in and just get rid of any if you want to. Or you can just make sure that that space is filled, and then when you go and drop and drag, it will only fill that. Then you'll get this line. So you do exactly what we just said. You'll pop it in, bring your threshold up, and then you'll see that that line starts to fill. But that's normally what it is. It's normally a break. Okay, so in fact, no, I'm going to do it slightly different because I want to make sure that we have. So we're going to go to layer 2, which is our second furthest to the back, and I'm going to duplicate that. I'm then going to fill that layer with that darker blue and then bring it to the back. Then I'm going to grab my Gaussian Blur and we're going to Gaussian Blur out at the back. And it almost gives it like this paper feel, like a 3D paper cut. I'm then going to grab, which I think is that one. Yep. So we're going to do the same with that one. Duplicate. Instead of moving it, I'm just going to select the one underneath. And we're going to Gaussian blur that. Like so. And in fact, if we're going to make it look quite paper cutty, I am going to do the very back layer too, I think. I actually think we need to match that in a bit. So we're going to do that back layer as well. So we're up to this layer now. So we duplicate that, fill that. You can Gaussian blur them all at the same time, but I just want to, oh, hang on, we've already done that one. I fibbed. It's that one we need. So if I show you what I mean, so that's the next layer, so we duplicate that, then that's the next layer, so we duplicate that. So the ones that are all sat behind, which are these three, oh, you should, so I'm going to get proven wrong, I'm pretty sure you can Gaussian blur, no you can't, there you go, you have to do it all individually. So we're Gaussian blur them. I'm going up to about 23% if anybody's wondering, but that's personal preference. That one, done that one, so it's that one next. Blur that one. Yep, so it's that one next. And we'll blur that one. And then you've got almost like this 3D paper cut effect. Looks quite cool, doesn't it? I'm thinking maybe on the bottom one we could add some trees. So there's two ways that we can do that. Make sure you're on the right layer. You can either select a new layer and add your trees on top, or you can add your trees to the mountain layer. But for now we'll add it onto a new layer. Can you see okay? I'm a bit concerned that there's too much light showing on everything. Oh, we're in the dark now. That might be a bit better. Let me just turn that way. My pad's gone into nighttime mode. Is that too dark for you guys on YouTube? Or is that better? I think you could probably see it a bit better, can't you? It's definitely better on TikTok. Hi. Let me know on YouTube. I think it's better on YouTube, to be honest. I'm just going to have to work in the dark. Okay, so there's two ways you can do this. You can have yourself a preset brush and you can get yourself some silhouettes of trees. Actually, there's three ways you can do this. So you can get like this tree silhouette brush, and then you can literally go and add in all these lovely trees. You can go and find a reference off of Pixabay or Pexels, something like that, and then you can add those in if you want. Or they're actually pretty easy to draw if it's something that you're quite happy to have a go at. So I think, let me just test. I think Ink Bleed would probably be my favourite. Yeah, so there's one called Ink Bleed, which I think is under air. No, it's not under airbrushing. I'm trying to think where it is. Little Pine is an alternative that's similar to Ink Bleed, but it's got quite a lot of texture. Sorry, because I've moved everything of mine, it's not where it should be. Maybe it's under markers. I don't remember. If anyone remembers, let me know, because I don't remember. is it inking? Yeah, inking. So it's under inking and it's called Ink Bleed. But it's got a very slight bit of texture to it. So you can literally just, probably have a bit bigger actually, depending on how big you want it. And I would just roughly just sketch some tree shapes in, really. There's no sort of right or wrong way of doing these. You'd need to put a shadow behind these if that's something you wanted to add. That way it then would mix in with all of that. So if you, oh, we got something here. What have we got here? Let me start again on that one. I seem to have an additional layer I don't need. Might make that a bit thinner. Too thin. You can have them as bushy or as thin as, you know, whatever you want really. It's your personal preference. You can either draw a ton in yourself or you can just simply duplicate that and just move them all, change the sizes. Make them bigger, make them smaller, make them taller. Up to you. You can flip them so they don't look identical too much. If you want to duplicate the whole set without having to individually duplicate them, you can group them all together. So you would group all of them, apart from the one that didn't decide to group. Let's drop and drag that in. You can then duplicate that whole group. Then you can move the entirety of the group and shrink and size and whatever it is that you want to do. And then if you want to edit in each individual tree, you just go into the group, select the tree, then you've got a bit of freedom about moving them around. But it saves you a bit of work then. So it's the old work smarter, not harder. How's everyone doing? It's very quiet in both chats. Have I sent you to sleep? Shall we attempt to make some little cottage of some sort? I don't really know. Sort of a shed on top of a hill. A little window. Make sure I close that off. Doesn't matter about the shape on the bottom. What roof should we have? Let's just, you don't have to do any of this. I'm just literally just mucking around at the minute. So remember, it's 2 finger tap to undo, 3 finger tap to redo. Let's make that a bit bigger. Longish window. We'll do a little one there. Bit wonky, but hey. Hi, Yambo. Procreate, yeah. It's on an iPad Pro. I think I want to adjust the house. Oh, need to change that to freehand. So I'm going to use the select tool. I'm going to move it a bit and make it smaller, I think, because it's very big compared to those trees. And I might even put him down here. And I might stretch him a little bit, make him a bit of a longer house. Could do with moving that down. down a bit more. There we go. Now, we're not after realism or anything here. We're just after something, you know, a little bit fun. So what we want to do is, I'm happy to merge all of that because I'm happy with, I might maybe have one tree over here actually. Let's duplicate a tree and maybe bring one or two over. Like so. And then I'm just going to merge the whole lot by literally grabbing top and bottom and pinching them together. Or you can select everything you want merged. So if I merge them, for example, it should give you the option of merging down here. But I just find it easier to pinch the whole lot together. So we want to make a Gaussian blur background. So I've duplicated and we've picked the one underneath. Gaussian blur. And then we're going to Gaussian blur that background, and then that way it blends in a little bit more with what we've done so far. There we go. So behind the windows, what I might do is just take some of the, what side do I want to take off? Take the top and the side off. And then it looks more like, it's hard to describe what I'm trying to say. I'm not very good with words today, can you tell? Just want to blend that out a bit. Just, you've got a soft brush just to make it so the windows are a bit more visible, really. Hi Georgina. Were you all good so far? Am I going too fast? Yes, a bit different, isn't it? You're normally used to seeing me with a pencil, aren't you? I must sort this screen going dark so quick. Right, we're going to put some stars in the sky. And we're going to select white. Don't ever trust this to select perfect white if that's what you want. Hi Becky, we're just doing a bit of a Procreate tutorial really, just something quite basic. So I would always go into value and always make sure that you're right at the very edge to get your white, because you can't always guarantee otherwise. Because of the style that we're doing, we're going to keep this really simple. So I'm going to grab my monoline, faves, monoline, because monoline can produce quite nice little circles. I might zoom you in a little bit on YouTube. See if I can get you a bit of a, that's a bit better, isn't it? I think. Make sure you can see, there we go. So if you want snow, it'd be great to have big fat blobs. But we want stars. You do have the option of having stars. I personally don't always like them. I think under theirs it's under luminance and they call it glimmer. I don't mind it, but it's a bit pithy for me. You can alter it, but I find them too translucent sometimes for what I want. Okay, so how we've done it, Georgina, is this will be recorded on YouTube. So if you want to go back and have a look at any time, please do. But essentially what I have done is each layer has a Gaussian blur layer underneath it. So if I take all the Gaussian blurs away, you'll see how flat it looks. But as soon as you put a bit of shadow underneath, it starts to bring everything more 3D. So it's like one of those nice colourful paper cuts. Where's Erica tonight, by the way? I'm surprised. She's normally here on time. Gary, do you think you'd be able to do the share in the group for me, please? Erica's normally done one for me. I would have a new layer for the stars. And there is, I mean, if you're up for downloading your own brushes, it's perfectly fine. I've done it quite a lot. So under my faves, wherever that's disappeared to, I have one called Lettering Big Splatter, which is a lot more crisp. You can see that, can't you? And again, you can change the size. So I prefer to use this type of brush. The other way to do it is use, it's called a light pen. And I could just go in, and it always gives this bit of glow to the stars. I don't know how well you can see that. So it was stuck in a reboot loop, and apparently I was doing everything that the shop was going to do anyway. I'm going to move that behind, so it's behind all the mountains. But apparently something as simple as a cable, or the computer that you're trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? You're trying to reboot it from. If it doesn't want to talk to your iPad, then you can't factory restore. So I'm really, really annoyed because I tried it on 2 different computers. But basically it was a software hiccup. I've still got a massive crack down my screen, but it's working, so I'm not going to complain too much. And I only lost 5 days work. Because everything had been backed up, but I think it only backs up once a week, which is really frustrating, and I haven't found a way yet to change that. Should we have a little moon in there as well? Hi Sarah, we're just doing a bit of a, I know I completely lost my axolotl. If you didn't see my axolotl Christmas sticker, I lost him. I lost him completely, so I don't have the original working files for him, which I'm gutted about. Absolutely gutted. I have my saved version, but if I ever want to go back and do anything with it, then obviously I'm really, really limited. So I have a limited version of him, but if you want to add even more of a paper texture, there's a couple of ways that you can do that. I got 3 of your stamp sets. Oh, bless you. Oh, thank you. What ones did you go for? Oh, didn't want to do that. You go into add. Oh, this is all new. There's loads of new stuff. Right, insert, trying to think where I saved it, file. Mine's in my downloads. So you just go to downloads. It is one of these. I have downloaded some paper. I think it might be that one. Yeah, let's move that all the way to the top. So you can download paper textures. So I'm going to show you a couple of ways you can do this. So you can either change, really just have a bit of a play with the settings until you're happy. Like multiply, that's lovely. Why is there a purple light coming off your camera? Is there? Oh, what, from here? I got the mugs, yay! Did they come in one piece? You have 2 mugs that hold water, that don't leak. Stay wild, embrace adventure and spread your wings. Well, I've got my colourful microphone happening here, but the camera sometimes, if it's going like it's doing now, if it goes into lockdown and I need to unlock it, the camera will wake up because we'll see face recognition and all that malarkey. But I have, oh, that, yeah, hang on. That's probably what you're seeing. No? I don't know. That's my mic for YouTube. They came over well packed and in perfect shape. It was fun to watch the designs and then see them. Oh, I'm so glad. It moved when you picked the speaker up. It is a really cool microphone. Okay. I really like the texture that this has got on there. What do you guys think? And that's using a multiply layer. Colour burn just tends to turn everything richer. I have got another one that is not quite as textured. Or I did, but then my pad died, so I then haven't. So let's show you where I would go and get them. I would go to, let's go to Pexels. Not pedals, Pexels. And I would put in paper texture. And then you've got all sorts of textures that you can have a play with. So there's tons in there. If you don't want something quite as elaborate as a full-blown paper texture, the other is what we call adding noise. So, I mean, I personally really like that. I preferred it on multiply, I think. I think it's too strong on colour burn. So I'm going to turn that layer off while I show you what I mean. So if we head to, try and do that blue layer, so this one. Okay, so you select the layer that you want. You go up to adjustments and you pick noise. I have my favourites, my personal favourites, but you adjust it by pulling up again on the pencil. And I personally prefer billows. I think it gives me a much more natural feel. And then you can have a play with your octaves, and that's all to do with how bright or how dark they are. And then of course you can change the scale, and this is actually a really good way of making fake glitter. So if you've ever wanted to know how to make something look glittery, it's a really good way of doing it. So for example, you could have that, get your light pen brush, and you can literally have like little bits of sparkle. And then you can, there's a flare brush in here under luminance, flare. You can even have little flares going on. So it's a really, really good way of making things look glittery. So yeah, you can either do noise, play about with that, just really play about with the settings until you're happy with it. But I personally think, I mean, you could actually do both. Both works really nicely. Don't know how well you can see that. Is that better? That looks really textured with the noise as well. Same name, Pam. Same, Erica, Naughty Step. Unless you have a bloody good excuse, you need to go to the Naughty Step right now. Same name, Pam. So Bonnita Doodles. You should see me on there. Bling bling, yeah. Yeah, I think I like the combo actually of both. What do you guys think? With both or without? So that's without the top texture. That's without the noise. noise and the top texture. Come on. Hello. Thank you. Both. Yeah, I like both. Works really well. So let's go ahead and do that then on all the other layers. Let's do it on my trees as well. Again, you're going to have to do it on each individual layer. If you want it to be exact, then really take note of the... Oh my god, that looks so cool! I can't see anything in here, it's so dark. I got lost at stars. I was adding link to FB. Oh no, bless you. You should just be able to share. Will it be all recorded? You can't really see it on that, but you can't see it on... It's really annoying me because you can't see it very well on YouTube. Can't. It's just the screen. It's just the way the screen is. I can't do nothing about it. Okay, so let's add it to everything else. Right, what I'm doing now at the moment, Gary, is I'll talk through it very quickly, is I'm adding noise to the front layers. Feet up now. So my personal favourite settings is octaves, billows. And I sort of have the octaves around sort of 20 to 30%. In fact, I might even go 40-ish, and then you can bring the scale up. And it's just a really nice way of adding a bit more texture. You won't need to add any texture to your shadow layers because your shadow layers are Gaussian blurred. They will naturally have an opacity to them, so you'll see everything underneath. Oh, then I picked the wrong ones because I was talking about it. Noise. Right, last thing then is the sky. And then when we go to put the paper texture over the top, which apparently was always on, I need to make it richer, that's why. There we go. So that's max. And that's bringing it down. I quite like it max. It really does look like that really textured. I like that. And then you just say, just have a play, because this quite honestly is down to personal preference. Obviously that's no good. But yeah, normally the multiply is the best one. We're in sand dunes now. Looks quite cool in black and white. Put a Bonnita silhouette in the woods. Ugh, now you're asking. A Bonnita silhouette or a Doodles silhouette? I don't think you're going to want a Bonnita silhouette in there. And you've almost sort of made yourself a little 3D paper cut. How cool is that? Sorry, you just got a really horrible tap on the microphone there. So what did you miss, Gary? And I'll go over it. Should we do an underwater version? See what fun we can have with an underwater version. I don't quite know how I do. Coral, I suppose. I'm just waiting to see where Gary's getting on or how he's getting on. Making back orders tomorrow. Right, yeah, should we do that? Should we do an underwater scene? At least that way Gary will see everything as well. But how cool is that? Imagine that as, I don't know, even just like a little greetings card or whatever. It's really just quite fun to do. And it didn't take long at all, so you'd be quite quick at these. Okay, let's do an underwater one then. So we're going to work the other way this time. A3 I did, didn't I? And we're going to work horizontal. Okay, so how are we going to do our scene? We want a nice blue background colour. Which need to go lighter than that, so let's change. I'm going to grab my soft brush because it tends to fill quicker. There we go, that's better. I had to come on YouTube. Connection on TikTok is not good. My my connection to YouTube isn't 100% either, so I'm wondering if there's something going on with our internet. Hopefully it's not going to be too problematic. I was picturing that as the front of a sketch pad. Yeah, totally. Can you make a mosaic? Oh my god. You could, yeah, it would take some time. But yeah, I don't see why you... I personally would need to find out a bit more about it. It's nothing I've ever done before. Okay, so let's go with some greens, and I'm going to go with ink bleed again. And let's just go with some sketchy seaweeds. Sorry, you might not be able to see very well on YouTube. Oh, okay. It's not closed off somewhere. Yes, you are. Why are you doing that then? Oh, because your threshold's like miles up. Bring it up there. There. Just fill that in. Oh, there is. Something's not playing ball there. Weird. I think we're going to have to tackle this one slightly differently because it won't have the back layers as it would previously. Although I guess it could with regards to the coral. Is this clean UK? You think our water's clean? Oh, my lovely. Oh, I've done it on the wrong layer. There you go. I've made a boo-boo and I've done it on the wrong layout. So let's undo that. Or let's just get rid of that layer and start again. So let's start again. And I didn't want to do that either. Dagnammit. Okay, let's try that again. I'm going to pick, as sickly as they are, I'm just going to pick some pinks and purples to help me represent coral, I guess. I'm just going to turn it down on YouTube because you're really losing the colour. It's really frustrating in this light. Really, that's so cool. Hi! Yeah, UK water is most definitely not clean. Okay, so let's go, I don't know, beep. I don't really know what I'm doing. How are we going to do this? Oh, I know. Oh, no. Do I know? Yeah, I think I do, actually. Let's do something a little bit different. Sorry. This is what happens when I do stuff spontaneously. Because we want it... I've done it again on the same layer. Because we want it to look like a paper cut, don't we? So I need to have that in my mind, that is what we're doing. We're doing something that is a paper cut style. So we're going to create waves rather than... That's probably a bit too dark for the next layer. That's better. I am going to do it like the sea, so bear with. I'm going to do one layer and we're going to pick white, I think. And I want to, I'm thinking aloud now. You can hear my brain processes happening right now. Yeah, okay. So we want to... In fact, I might even have them smaller. Yeah, let's go with smaller, like that. Just fill that in. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to sneak that in between each section. Duplicate in that one, and then all we've got to do is just move it. I might, oh, that's quite a difference. Duplicate and then move it. And I might, on the very top one, just do, I made that smaller, just do a little one like that. No, I won't, I'm overcomplicating it, stop it. We're going to leave it like that, okay? I love neons and neons, oh my god. Now you say neons. Tell you what, let's do something really quick, shall we? I know I'm gonna... Some of you probably know this already. Neon... Nope. Neon colour... Neon colour... Well, it might be a bit sickly, actually, looking at that. I have not taught you this, so when anybody ever asks, I didn't teach you this, okay? But please don't ever pay for a colour palette. You should never have to pay for a colour palette. In fact, I'm going to show you a website called colourlovers.com. I'm obsessed with this website. Don't ever pay for a colour palette. Colour Lovers is a palette community, and they create lots and lots and lots of colour palettes. I haven't been on here a while, so I don't quite know how it's laid out, but all their palettes pretty much are free. So I should be able to go on here and actually search for neon. And then I have neon. So I like all of those colours. So all I'm going to do very quickly is screenshot, because I like them all. Open in photos. Why are you there? I'm going to edit that just by cropping it, really. That's all I need to do. Crop it. Done. And I'm now going to go back into Procreate. Click on my colours. And I'm going to go over to where it says palettes. Coolers.com. Oh, okay. Coolers.co or .com. You then press the plus sign, create new palette, new from camera, new from file, new from photos. So depending on where you saved it from. So new from photos, and I will select that photo, and it's created my own neon colour palette. But please, whatever you do, do not get sucked in to buying colour palettes from Etsy, design bundles, anywhere like that, because you don't need to. You really, really don't need to. It winds me up that people are making people pay for something that is as easy accessible as that, and it makes me angry. Well, what I'll do is I'll finish this with the last hour on YouTube, and then we're going to go on and do a neon version on TikTok when I shut the live down on YouTube. So we'll carry on with what we're doing now, and I'm going to turn this one into a beach colour, I think, so it looks like we're looking at the beach in the background. I think that's how I want to play the game, like so. And I think I'm gonna have yellow for the sky, actually, almost like a sunset. Let's go with something more along those lines, I think. So I'm going to background. We just want it a bit darker up the top. That brush is too big. Just fill that in, Gaussian blur it. There we go. You've got a nice sunset. Coolers.co. Oh, okay. It matters, I believe, on how old the iPad is. Gary, I know, has an iPad 8, did you say? iPad Air also runs Procreate. So it doesn't have to be a mega expensive model. It really doesn't. I'm going to grab my white and my soft brush, and at the very behind the beach, I'm just going to do, that doesn't look like white whatsoever, it's because it's not. Just going to make it look like the sun's setting down behind on the beach, so I think that beach is going to have to be darker. That'll do for now. Okay, so now we want to get it looking like a paper cut before I start putting any more things in, otherwise I'm going to end up with too many layers. So we're going to duplicate that. We need to find a nice dark, I'm trying to think what colour. I might go with this browny colour. You don't necessarily, you can get away with black, let me show you. But you have to be quite careful with black. what I would do for me is, if you did use black, is just turn the opacity down a bit so it's not quite so grating. But let's, for the sake of today, do black. So duplicate that, change that, Gaussian blur. I'm not going to go and change all the opacity for now because it just takes the time that we don't have. And then just keep rinsing and repeating. I know exactly what we're going to do for our neon one, because it's similar to one I've done before actually. And I actually did do it as a paper cut. It's a paper cut design I did. Almost there. That's an empty there. So it's that one next. There we go. So there's our little 3D layers. Okay, so what we're going to have in our ocean scene, what we're going to go for, I guess we need some seaweed, don't we? What creature are we going to have? I will. Should we just do some really basic fun fish? Like if we're emulating, I don't know how to pronounce that word. We just want some really basic shaped fish, don't we? We don't want anything magical looking. Did you? That's a very big fish. Shall I attempt to draw a dolphin? Okay, let's do that on a new layer in case I mess up. Okay, God, it's been years since I've done this without looking at a reference. Sort of, almost. Oh, we've got jellyfish, deep sea diver. I have to change his colour, but sort of, I guess. I think he would look better. Now he looks like a whale. Look, we have a whale. We're going to have a whale instead. I know what we're going to do. No, don't duplicate it yet. Let's keep it as a whale because I think it looks better as a whale. Something tells me my kid's been eating her dinner while playing on my iPad. I wonder what could make me think that. Now it just looks like a weird shark. Hey! Thank you. Have a good day. Yeah, it definitely needs to be longer. I need to put a second one in as well, don't I? Needs a second one over here. Try and decide what tail I want him to have. I can't decide now. But there's me going. I'm not going to make it over complicated, just to show you how to blur, blur, blur. And what do? Make it over complicated. Right, that'll do. That'll do for now. It's just a demo. Anyway, there's my whale. We're going to do a second one. We're going to duplicate that and we're going to tuck that behind any one of the layers, really. And then we're just going to play about and we could even have him jump. There you go, a little jumping up one. What do we think? That's cute. I actually think we could do with shortening each of these layers. So I'm going to grab everything. I'm going to just pull it down slightly. Like so. There's my jumpy one. A big one. You big one. Right, my little fishy on a little dishy. Some sort of angelfish. That was a bit big. Why is my brush so massive? There we go. That'll do for now. Do you think just one fish? Or should we have a school of fishies? And we can change all the colours as well. And then we're going to have to shadow them all. To daddy fish. Daddy fish. Right, let's just group them so the group is easier to move. Like so. So while we've got these, I'm just going to change some of the colours. That one. Let's go with deep purple. Let's go with, in fact I am going to lock all them now because it'll just be easier. So we need to duplicate that. What we need to do here now is alpha lock your layer, which means that nothing can go outside the shape of what you've created. So you alpha lock that, find your darkest colour that you've been using, and you fill the layer, and then that way it fills the whole lot for you. So you can see now that you've got a black layer.
Would you like a Jew?
Yeah, please. To then be able to Gaussian blur it, you have to take it off of alpha lock. Then you can Gaussian blur it, because it won't allow you to do anything outside of the, let me zoom you in so you can see a bit better. You see? And on this one, because we want it to look a bit more realistic, we don't want the shadow all the way around, so you're going to smooth the shadow either up to the top or down to the bottom. But as we've done everything up to the top, you'll need to move it in a similar fashion so it sits up the top and matches the waves and things that we've done. So I'm going to change the colour of the big whale in the ocean. Duplicate, alpha lock, oh I didn't want to do that, alpha lock, pick darkest colour, fill layer, alpha lock, Gaussian blur, and then bring your shadow up. In fact, I think I can probably blur that a bit more. And again, just pop it where you want it to be. You can even shrink it a little bit if you want. Erica says hi. Okay, so we need to do the same with the bottom whale. Alpha lock, fill layer, alpha lock, Gaussian blur. And then again, we're going to bring it up very slightly so it matches in with what we've done there. We haven't even got around to putting the texture on yet, so thank you. So shall we put a bit of seaweed in there like we were doing earlier? So I'm going to do that with the ink bleed. You're coming in late.
Well, what time are you finishing?
I don't know.
No, that's fine.
I wasn't complaining, I was just surprised.
Oh.
So we'll do some seaweed as we were doing earlier. Just do some random shapes. Where'd you go? There we go. I'm not going to bother about being extra clean on the lines because it's just showing you what we've already shown you, really. We could have some sand on the bottom, actually. That's a pretty good shout. And in fact, I'll use the same brush. So if we just... I have done that on a new layer, I think. Need to mute that down a bit. Probably too light, yeah. We have a play about. That's a bit better. So we're going to want to fill that. Gaussian blur. And let's do the same with our seaweed. Alpha lock, fill layer, alpha lock, Gaussian blur. Lift that slightly, and then again, just to save you having to redraw, if you group them, duplicate, then you can easily move that to somewhere else. And you can just move it about. If you want it in front of the beach or the sand, then you can just move it. Once they're grouped, you can easily sort of manipulate the sizes and that per set rather than doing everything individually. I'm going to move that whale, I think. I'm going to try and somehow be a little bit clever. It might not be clever, but I'm going to duplicate him. I'm going to bring him to the very top. I'm going to bring his opacity right down to make it look like he is a bit more through the water. I'm going to use a soft eraser brush. Might use the bigger one. Just be careful where you come down to, and then I can come down a little bit past that white layer. What do you think? Looks quite cute. Reminds me of those sticky felts. Do you remember playing with those? I'm feeling lonely on here. Oh, bless you. Well, if it's any consolation, Becky on TikTok has just gone and got some snacks. So you two are probably well at home now. So for the sake of just ease of everything, I'm going to group the whole lot. You can sit here and do it individually. That's not a problem. But I'm just going to group the whole thing. I'm going to group. I'm going to bring that group down, and hopefully it's going to let me duplicate. No, see, I've hit my maximum number of layers. What can I flatten? Let's flatten the seaweed. 34 layers. How many layers have I got in here then? Flatten them, flatten them. Oh, do you know what? For that, you're not going to do this. You're going to go and do all yours individually if you want to. Or you can just flatten the whole thing. I don't want to rename, I want to flatten. Flatten the whole thing and then go and add your noise. Let me zoom in so you can see a bit better. So you can see that texture. So the higher you go on the octaves, the lighter it is. And of course, we discussed scale, didn't we, earlier? I'm just going to show you each. So that's ridges. I don't know the difference, so I'm not even going to try and explain. Billows, I don't know why. I always prefer it. And clouds. Flatten is where you literally take all of your layers and you flatten it into one layer. So nothing else is more yeah, what am I trying to say? So it's just like one layer, so you can't edit on it anymore. So let me show you what I mean. Let me bring that octaves up. Remember, I have not closed my canvas yet, which means I can undo everything I've just done. Undo, flatten, layer. So all of my groups and layers are now back. If I went, oops, oh no, I deleted that. Oh no, I've deleted that. Oh crap, no, I've deleted that. Oh, I've deleted too much. You can still undo. The only thing you cannot do is if you shut the canvas down. So for those of you that weren't here earlier, you cannot shut your canvas down. So all the time let's delete layer 22. I'm going to go out and I'm going to have a look, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to look on my iTunes, blah, blah, blah. And I go back and I can still undo what I've just done. Okay. If, however, I delete that layer, I'm going to see out of interest whether this will work. So I'm going to delete that layer and then I'm going to go back to my gallery. And then I'm going to look at something. This is one we did earlier. Oh, look, fancy, fancy. And then we're going to go back and then I'm going to go, I shouldn't have deleted that. You can't undo it. So as soon as you come out of your canvas, you can't undo it. And nor does your paste work. So that was worth experimenting. So your paste doesn't work, full stop. So it clears the board. So bear that in mind, okay? So we'll duplicate that again. Get that moved. We've got a little bit of seaweed back. Let's put another one in. As he comes in yawning, bless you. There we go. So again, I personally would recommend that you individually do each layer with noise. But for the sake of tonight's live feed, then I will flatten it and we'll do it again. So we'll bring the noise in. Octaves, just muck about with the scale and everything until you are happy with it. Then I'm going to bring in that paper that we were using earlier, which I think is that one. Yeah. I'm going to turn it, see, no, it's going to look stupid turned. That's going to be too textured, so I might have to double this to fit across our canvas. So I've got two layers here. What I'm going to do with the top layer is get a big soft brush and I'm just going to go down the very edge. That's too big. To just dissipate the very, very edge, and it helps blend in so you don't have a sort of pattern left over, if that makes sense, like a edge. I'm just going to flatten the lot as we need to bring that down. I need a 13-inch iPad, that's what I need. And then we're going to muck about again, which was my favourite, which was the multiply. And then we really have got that felty paper. In fact, that looks just like fuzzy felt. I cannot believe how much like fuzzy felt that looks. That's ridiculous. I wish I'd done this on your logo board, because I certainly didn't do it this way round. You can see, obviously I didn't take much care doing the edge, but it at this point you can turn as well, so you can go, oh, okay, well, flip it, or you can go that way, or you can rotate it. You can sort of have a bit of a muck about really and see whatever you're happy with. It's being on my iPad now, it's great. I can't believe how much that looks like fuzzy felt. It's bonkers. I think I had farmyard. I loved fuzzy felt. Oh, it's genius stuff. And there you go. Now we have a little cutie. How did I do your logo? I did your logo with quite a lot of things actually. Where is your logo? I was in it earlier because I was showing people. So there's your logo, and there's all the different layers. I actually used a fuzzy felt type texture, but it turns out I didn't need to, so there you go. But there's your little turtle parts all in there. So there's 2 already that we've managed to do in that short space of time, in almost 2 hours. You've got 2. Again, you know, like you say, kiddie sketchbook or even a storybook or anything. It's such an effective way of doing something quite cool. Okay, we've got 10 minutes. I'm going to do something 10 minutes without talking. In fact, I'm going to go square. Okay, so we're just going to go with it because I'm fed up with listening to my own voice. And we're going to use the neon palette. Set as default. And then it will always be here. It might be a bit hard on the eyes, so I need to think about this. So let's start in the middle. Pen do I want to use? I'm actually going to use Monoline, I think. Why can't I find Monoline? Where's Monoline gone? There. I've turned snapping on because I want everything to be in the middle. It's a lot of pink. Right, one more I think, 2 more maybe. I might actually put extra one on the bottom. Do I want to put an extra one on the bottom? I've done it on the same layer, haven't I? Dope. Okay, and then the same process applies. Should be able to such a cool effect, it really is. So you would take a lot more time over this than I am. The only thing is because I didn't go down as far as I wanted to, I need to do the very bottom one a bit differently. I'm going to have to, let me see if I can automatic pick that shape. I don't want to invert it. I'm not sure I'm going to be able to do it on here. Hopefully that works. Yeah, that worked. Okay. Move you down to the bottom. Make you a bit bigger. I'll make that bottom one black. There you have it. Now you've got like some sort of 3D paper cut thing. I don't know, whatever you want to call it. It's cool though, isn't it? It's such a cool effect. Again, if we're to go then put the paper layer on top, you need to be up here. And then you've got something that automatically looks like really cool paper. If you wanted to, hi Tweed, you could like grab all your shadow layers. Am I missing one? I'm not missing one, am I? Oh, I am. I'm missing you. Grab all the shadow layers. And then if you want to play about with your lighting source, you can really sort of adjust where your lighting's coming from, and you can get some really dramatic effects. Isn't that cool? That's so satisfying. I wonder, out of curiosity, if, let's just do it with this one. I don't know. I'm just thinking aloud now. Did I click on the right one? Yes, I did. No. That would need to go on top if I was to do that. And then I would need... No, that's too much faffing, that. Yeah, okay. Ignore that. I was having a little moment of I wonder. But doesn't it look cool? It is a really, really, really good effect. And for those of us that have done paper cutting before, this is actually, I think that's what I'm going to do, because we've got, I'm thinking I will probably turn the YouTube live feed off literally in a minute. And I think, what do you reckon, Erica, having a go with one of my paper cutting templates and actually having a go doing this sort of thing with it? I don't know, let's just have a play, I think. But if you want to adjust anything, by the way, let me grab everything and group it all. I'm sure there's probably a quicker way of doing this, but I don't know what it is. group. I can't remember if you can change. No, you can't. Just flatten it. You can then go in and play with all the different colour settings. How cool is that? I mean, come on. That blue, and then you can change the saturation, do a black and white version. You can change the, I wouldn't fiddle about with the brightness too much because you lose the contrast. But it's just, honestly, I love this program. You can also go in and change the colour balance, so you can muck about with your greens, magentas and stuff, but you need to start going into your shadows, midtones and highlights. So that's a whole different playing session. Hi Ben. If you want to see how I've done this from the beginning, it is recorded on YouTube. I'm doing a live feed on YouTube as well as TikTok. I'm just about to finish the live feed on YouTube now, so it will be able to be played back whenever it's finished editing, uploading, whatever it is it decides it wants to do. But it's all done through lots and lots of different layers. So far we've done this one. We've done a fuzzy felt. We've made a little fuzzy felt scene. And we've done a nighttime scene, all with the same techniques. So on that note, I am going to say goodbye to everybody on YouTube. If you're on TikTok, just wait around because I'll be doing something more on here. But for everybody on YouTube, thank you very much for watching. Hopefully that was something a bit different, a bit enjoyable, different from the mix. And again, if you've got any questions, just come and find me in the Facebook group, Bonnita Doodles Creatives. But other than that, have a good morning, afternoon, evening, whichever it is where you are watching from, and I'll see you in the next live. Bye!